Welcome to another episode of Front End Interview Question Series. And this one is a little bit advanced. So, get ready for it. And then today's interview is quite special. He's got some special skills, and we'll find out in a minute. So, I'm going to go from easier one to advanced one. And in the end, there's a bonus question, which is quite tricky. And if you want to participate in this interview process, feel free to email me. I'll provide a link here and we can get started. And welcome to Texas Tutorial. Okay, so I have a matrix here, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a two-dimensional array.
Yes.
Now, what I want is there is there are all the elements on the border, on the perimeter,
Okay.
right? Uh,
Yes.
so I want to sum of all the elements on the perimeter. Now it could be right now this is a 3 by 3 matrix, but it could be 4 by 4 or 7 by 8 or whatever.
So I can take sum of first row and last row,
Okay.
and first column and last column, and after that subtract four corners because corners are coming twice, or like adjust my thing in the starting.
And is that the best
Does that sound?
idea do you have right now?
At first look, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a better way, but
Okay, let's go with that then. Yeah.
so I'll try to do in the simplest way possible some imperative code. Maybe we can write it in a better declarative syntax, but I'll just start over it. I'll start with iterating rows and is equal to matrix dot length. This will give me rows, and similarly I can get columns, and I can do matrix 0 dot length, and then to iterate over rows I can do something like have a variable of sum 0 and zero. And similarly and then doing same thing for the columns. This guy will be I, this will be oops, one sec, 0th column, and similarly in this case I is fine, columns -1. Now I need to subtract edges, and I can do sum minus matrix 0 0 and matrix 0 and columns -1, and then I need to do columns -1 -1, and there's just one of these guys left. Columns is I can do something like this.
Okay.
It says 8,
Okay. It works.
7, 8. Yeah,
Okay. Writing.
yeah. I haven't tested edge case scenarios.
copy and paste. Okay, so here it should be 8, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so let's try running it. Okay, 12. Okay, it works. Okay, now let's see where can we fix this or make it better. So you have four loops, right?
Yes, but complexity wouldn't be bad, right?
No, complexity not bad,
Yeah.
but the I think
I can, yeah, like readability is not so good. Everything in one loop, then I mean, single loop. You mean if it is n into n array, then I have to do it in n. I can do that. I mean, I can add a check inside the loops, two loops, m into n loops, and make sure that I just add the valid values. The valid value means like the ones on the perimeter. There is definitely a way around it. So let's see. If I do rows minus one, then let's see. It will column minus one. It will remove this value. I can get rid of this value, and like if I do from one, then I can probably get rid of this value. Similarly, like restricting loops at other end. For instance, to get rid of this value, if I start from 1, I can get rid of this value. And then the last thing is rows minus 1. Let me see. Rows minus 1 and column to be 0. Probably this can do the trick. And then I don't need to have this.
okay. All right. So yeah, it's now much better. The main thing is there are multiple ways to do it. Either you do, yeah, what you did was what's correct. Usually you can just do first row, last row, and then the rest of the rows you just take first and last value. Or if you look at the indexes of all the corners, all the edges, either you'll have one of them is 0 or the maximum.
Oh, I see. So in single loop, you can probably swap the things, like first go over both the rows and then go.
So do you know what the output of this would be?
Then it would be just the sum of three of these. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6.
Now the challenging part comes in. That wasn't the question. The question now is, can you make your own reduce function? But I'm just gonna call it my
Yeah.
reduce. Okay, it should work exactly the same way, and it should also have the second parameter, which would be like a 0 or something,
Okay.
right?
I can try this out. I'll try to add that to prototype. I'm assuming that there is no my reducer, and yeah, of course, and it takes a function. So it takes a function. Okay, it is actually a function. So it's actually a function, and it takes a fn, and it takes a init value. I'll call this init, and so I assume that in this scenario, this would be an array. So this would be like 1, 2, 3. So what I want to do here is I want to iterate over this and every time execute my fn, and inside fn provide two values. One is this dot current index, which will be my second param, and first one will be the init value. So I'll try to do this with a for loop, and I'm sure there can be a better way, but and then I want to say, for example, my helper equals to, I don't know what's my helper. Let current equals to init, and for each value, current equals to fn, and inside fn, I'll pass current will be my second param, and my first param will be this of I, and in the end I would just return current, something like this, I feel.
All right, let's try to run it.
Can I like do this? I mean, I think, yeah, it says 0. Okay.
One one is so tricky that it won't run without that.
Okay.
Um, okay, do you see any obvious problems here?
I don't know. I mean, one problem I could probably think about is I can, if there is a this problem, then I would probably do something like this. That is, can be one thing. Didn't help. So let me,
Okay, I will tell you that this here is actually Windows. So even if you do
makes
that to
sense.
this, it won't work.
Got it. So probably I need to pass a function. Yeah, I don't. I was thinking so I should use arrow here or not, but I know why. Yeah,
Another problem is if I, reduce function, usually this the second argument, right? What if somebody doesn't provide the second argument?
got it. What if it does not provide second argument, then add a default value. So something like this. If reducer assumes integer to be a default, I would do a 0.
So if usually what it does is, um, how does a reduce really works? If I don't, it does it really take zero? What if, okay, so let me give you a good example. What if I have, um, what if this is strings?
Prob Probably it would take an empty string.
So you want a solution that works for either, right? Zero would be,
Of
so
course.
if I don't provide the second argument, then it should work both for
Yeah.
numbered string. I can have boolean, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Makes sense. So do I need to get the type and provide some default value? Okay, let me think. So suppose my init is undefined. I'm not sure how to do that. Maybe type of operator, but I'm not. We'll just tell you the type, but
so usually the way a reduce function works is if you don't provide it,
mhm,
then it takes the very first value as a init.
I see.
So you can do the same thing.
Got it. So if I don't provide it, then got it. I can do something like this and then 0. Okay. It got yeah.
It's correct. Oh, hold on.
It is.
Okay, and if
So
you take a first value, then you should not consider the first value. If you have it, so okay, so it's a little bit more. If you already are using first value, then you should start from
the second one.
second value.
Got it. Makes sense. Type of or I mean, I probably don't of
Yeah, you can
this
just
big.
you don't need to simply say if init equal to undefined. Yeah.
Then I equals to 1
Yeah.
and my init equals to this of 0,
Yeah.
and I don't think this one.
I think you probably don't want to use I because it's gonna you are redefining I, so maybe you want to use a different variable,
I see. So
v or something. I don't know.
let's see if it works like this.
No, it won't work. It has to be, so you need to use let I equal to k or something, and then k equal to 1. Yeah.
And over here b equals to
Yeah.
1. Hopefully it works. No, something is
Okay, let's see what the problem is.
function current. Current is not defined. Yeah, I think I removed current. So
Oh yeah, you remove current. That's why. Yeah.
I don't need current actually. I mean, probably it's not a good practice to modify that in it. So I'll just put the init in a current and keep working with it.
Yeah.
Okay, looks better.
Okay, looks better. This is a little bit a trickier.
Okay.
You know our promises, right?
Of course, yeah.
Can you implement your own promise called my promise?
Implement my own promise.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how to use promise API,
Okay.
and I know that promise is not exactly on top of callback because it is supposed to prevent inversion of control, and if I use callback, then this inversion of control is still there.
Okay.
So it is implemented on something like events. It is more aligned with that.
Okay. So at least
Let's try it out. Yeah.
I would say first try with whatever you can. I mean, you don't have to get the whole thing right because it's very complex anyway. I'll tell you that. But I just want to see how far you go.
Let's try to build a promise function itself. For instance, like I'll just start with let promise equals to function, and it takes two functions. And first is on, okay, let me first write the API itself. Equal to new promise, and then it takes a function, I feel, and which has resolve and reject. And on success, you just call the resolve with the value. And after that, whatever you return an object which is thenable. So it has a then function. I'm sure it returns a function we can definitely check the scope, how it binds the scope if it does any, but for now I'll use arrow function and probably try to avoid the scoping thing. And it takes a function, so it takes fn, and fn takes a fn, and what essentially is inside fn is that it gives a function which can take two values. So one is on success and on error. So it takes two values, and promise is this. So I'll pass a function here and we execute the function. Function has a callback. In a few minutes, let me think. If I do something like, let's see, I promise, then I expect to use it in something like, well, my promise equal to new my promise, and I pass a function here saying resolve or reject. Okay, and what I need to do is, if something, then call res with some value, and else let's just do a reject with some error. Okay, so I got this function here, and I know that when this function will be executed. So being a promise library, I need to call this function. I hope so. And since I called this function resolve or reject, how does that information gets passed? I think the information would be passed like, I mean, it returns a function enable. Okay, it returns a object, I feel. Yeah, when resolved is called, then on success will be called. Something like that.
I've heard that this people ask this question in an interview. Most of them are not gonna get all the way unless you know the answer.
Okay.
Okay. What interviewers are looking for is how you think when you get this question, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a tough one. I'm not even gonna say it. Can you write this function that when I run like this, it gives me exactly these answer 9, 4, 4, and 0.
Okay. Is there a logic behind 1, 2, 3, 9 and 2, 2, 1, 4, or these are just any random values?
It's like a triangulation, right? If I gave you three values, then there's a formula inside, right? So you first you have to figure. It's like a math question and also
I see.
programming question.
I see.
I don't know, probably. Okay, I see. So if it is ABC, A plus B into C would probably satisfy the three condition, right? For three of them, A plus B plus C would satisfy, I think. Yeah, A plus B into C. So I can write a function takes A, B, C, F, all three are there. And I mean, I'm assuming that the inputs are integer values. Otherwise, there can be a lot of complicated scenarios. So if I have all the A and B and C, then I can just return A plus B, and I'll just multiply by 3 and, oh sorry, multiply by C, and else if I have A and B, then return a function. And what this function does is it takes, so I can do something like let sum equals to plus B, and it takes value and it returns val into sum, else if I only have A, I think I'm messing somewhere with the brackets. Yes, so it ends here, this one ends here. Else if I have A, then a function, and this function already have access to A, so it will also return, it takes value 1, return a function, and takes value 2 and return A plus val1 to val2. So if I have A, B, and C, I just add 2 of them into 3, else I save the sum A plus B, and this sum will be accessible here. And probably I don't even need to do this. I should just be able to do something like this. Let's see if it works. And else if I have A, then I return a function. I can get val1, val2. Probably something like this can work. If I think I didn't into last condition, else return 0. Let's see for the first one. Okay.
That is all. I hope it was challenging.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. I think the questions and the lessons learned are pretty helpful. I'll keep following your videos.